D. Backfill. 1. Initial backfill. For water lines up to 24 inches in diameter, initial backfill material shall be placed in 2 lifts. The first lift shall be spread uniformly and simultaneously on each side and under the bottom quadrant of the pipe to the midpoint or spring line of the pipe. Placement of the first lift of initial backfill shall be inspected and approved prior to placement of second lift, which shall extend from the spring line of the pipe to a minimum of 1 feet above the top of the pipe. The second lift shall be evenly spread in a similar manner as the first lift. For diameters 24 inches and larger, initial backfill material shall be evenly and simultaneously spread alongside, under the lower quadrant the pipe and over the pipe in 12 inches lifts to a point sufficient to a minimum of 1 feet above the top of the pipe. No material or hand compaction shall be required on an approved initial backfill material when the pipe diameter is less than 36 inches. Initial backfill shall be mechanically or hand compacted in all other conditions. Care shall be taken to see that no earth clods or trench sides are allowed to fall or rest against the pipe prior to completion of initial backfill. Where all nominal diameters of pipe shall be placed in rock cut or where trench walls or conditions are unstable as defined in section 3A. 6. Unstable conditions at grade. Well-graded gravels shall be used for initial backfill conforming to the gradation requirements contained in section 2Q. 1. Paragraph A. No mechanical or hand compaction shall be required on well-graded gravels. Existing materials shall be compacted by flooding. 2. Secondary backfill. Secondary backfill materials for all types and sizes of pipe are to conform to the requirements contained in section 2Q. 2. Secondary backfill for water mains. The contractor shall be required to place and compact secondary backfill materials in all trenches in accordance with the requirements of item 400, excavation and backfill for structures, except for measurement and payment. The backfill and cleanup of trenches shall be as directed, shall begin immediately upon the completion of the hydrostatic test and shall continue until a final and complete cleanup is obtained. Any portion of the trench which is left open in excess of that required to facilitate hydrostatic testing may be ordered closed. Surplus excavated materials shall be used in the embankment or disposed of as directed. 3. Sand backfilling of cross trenches and open holes. Blow-offs, tie-ins, air release valves, and service lines, meter boxes, or other specials shall be backfilled with sand and thoroughly consolidated by saturating with water, unless otherwise directed. The use of mechanical tamping equipment for compaction of backfill will not be permitted at such locations. Disposal of surplus excavated material and placement of sand shall be considered subsidiary to trenching and backfilling and will not be paid for directly. 4. Trench backfill across traffic arteries. Any trench in or across traffic arteries shall be backfilled immediately after the pipe is installed unless the engineer determines unusual conditions exist that render immediate backfilling unfeasible. 5. Flowable backfill. Instead of normal backfill materials, the contractor shall backfill the trench with flowable backfill with fly ash material at the locations shown on the plans and/or at locations directed. The flowable backfill material and operation shall be in accordance with item 401, flowable backfill. 6. Bedding and initial backfill requirements. See Table 6A below for bedding and initial backfill requirements. Table 6A shows bedding and initial backfill requirements. E. Flushing and testing mains. 1. Flushing. Immediately upon completion of pipe laying, the contractor shall flush all mains scheduled to be disinfected. This flushing shall be at the direction of the engineer and shall consist of completely filling sections of main between valves and then displacing such initial volumes of water by introducing clear water from existing facilities into and through the main to the point of discharge from the main being flushed. The flow-through shall continue until the engineer determines all dust, debris, or foreign matter that may have entered during pipe laying operations has been flushed out. The new line shall then be left under system pressure for testing. To avoid damage to pavement and inconvenience to the public, fire hoses shall be used to direct flushing water from the main into suitable drainage channels or storm sewers. 2. Operation of valves. No valve in the distribution system shall be operated by without prior permission. Notify the engineer when a valve shall be operated and shall only operate the valve in the presence of the engineer's representative. 3. Hydrostatic tests. All new mains shall be hydrostatically field tested at a maximum test pressure of 150 psi before acceptance. All joints which are found to leak either by observation or during any test shall be made watertight. In case repairs are required, the hydrostatic field test shall be repeated until the pipe installation conforms to the specified requirements and is acceptable. Payment for tests which meet specified requirements shall be made in accordance with the unit price for the hydrostatic pressure test. No payment shall be made for tests which fail to meet specified test leakage requirements. After the new main has been laid and backfilled as specified, but prior to chlorination and replacement of pavement, it shall be filled with water for a minimum of 24 hours and then subjected to a hydrostatic pressure test. The specified test pressure shall be supplied by means of a pump connected to the main in a satisfactory manner. The pump, pipe connection, and all necessary apparatus including gauges and meters shall be furnished by the contractor. Unless otherwise specified, the engineer will furnish water for filling lines and making tests through existing mains. Before applying the specified test pressure, all air shall be expelled from the main. To accomplish this, taps shall be made, if necessary, at the points of highest elevation and afterwards tightly plugged. At intervals during the test, the entire route of the new main shall be inspected to locate any leaks or breaks. If any are found, they shall be stopped or repaired. The test is repeated until satisfactory results are obtained. The hydrostatic test shall be made so that the maximum pressure at the lowest point does not exceed the specified test pressure. The duration of each pressure test shall be a minimum of 4 hours for new mains in excess of 1,000 feet. After the main has been brought up to test pressure, the test pressure shall be measured by means of a tested and properly calibrated pressure gauge acceptable to the engineer. All pressure tests shall be continued until the engineer is satisfied that the new main meets the requirements of these specifications. If any test discloses leakage greater than listed in Table 7A or 7B, hydrostatic test leakage allowances, the contractor shall, at his expense, locate and repair the defective joints until the leakage is within the specified allowance. Leakage is defined as the quantity of water supplied into the newly laid main, or any valved section of it, necessary to maintain the specified leakage test pressure after the main has been filled with water and the air expelled. Notify the engineer prior to beginning the test, and the inspector shall be present during the pressure test. HDPE pipe and PVC pipe leakage allowances shall conform to de-leakage allowances listed on Table 7A, hydrostatic test leakage allowances. Table 7A shows hydrostatic test leakage allowances, maximum, at 150 psi. Note: leakage allowances may be determined for footages not specifically listed by interpolation and / or by the combination of various tabular data. Table 7B shows hydrostatic test leakage allowances, maximum, at 200 psi. Note: leakage allowances may be determined for footages not specifically listed by interpolation and / or by the combination of various tabular data. F. Disinfection of new mains utilizing machine chlorination. 1. Machine chlorination. After the new mains have successfully passed the pressure tests specified in Section 3E. 3. Hydrostatic tests. The contractor will disinfect those mains shown on the plans or otherwise indicated as machine chlorination. This disinfection shall include chlorination, flushing, and placing the mains in service. 2. Operation of valves. During and after the disinfection of mains, the contractor shall be notified by the engineer sufficiently in advance to enable the contractor to have a competent representative present whenever valves shall be operated that will affect the pressure in any part of the work for which the contractor is responsible. 3. Contractor's personnel and equipment. The contractor shall supply labor and equipment necessary to make all excavations required for chlorination, equipment connections, subsequent flushing, and placing the mains in service. For safeguarding and backfilling open holes. The contractor shall be responsible for safeguarding any open holes excavated or left open for flushing and disinfection purposes. Following completion of disinfection, backfill such holes in accordance with appropriate provisions of Subarticle 3D, backfill.